Hey guys, what's up, and welcome to Real Time, where we are live talking about film and television and everything in between. Today, I'm very excited to share with you guys my favorite biopics in cinema of all time. Let's check it out. Hey there everybody, Mustafa Talib here with Cinema King Productions, and I'm so thankful for y'all tuning in, so thank you. And before we get started about talking about the best, in my favorite actually, not the best per se, but my favorite biopics of all time, I first want to give a quick shout out to my biggest support, somebody who has been there for me literally from the beginning of my life. And supported me in my career to becoming a filmmaker and who I am today. And that is none other than my own father. So happy birthday, Dad. It's his birthday, y'all. So make sure y'all comment down below. Also, if y'all have any questions about biopics or anything like that, put it in the live chat. But most importantly, say happy birthday to my dad. MashaAllah, he is always been a big support, and that's just something I want to talk about for a little bit, kind of going off the cuff here, but it's so important. Whatever you're doing, whatever you want to pursue in your life, you want to have those who are around you to support you in your career, your dreams, whatever it is. You need to have that core group, and it's most endearing when it comes from your own family. So thank you, Baba, for everything that you have done for me, my siblings, our family, our community, and I would not be where I am today without you. So, Jazakallah khairan. Thank you so much. And it's always been kind of a joke in our family that I've pitched the idea to him a couple of times that he should write a book, an autobiography, and call it 1982. And the running joke is that everything that, happened to him whenever he talks about, a situation or a story in his life, it always happened in 1982. And it's just hilarious. Every time it's something, 1982. But I think it'd be a great project that he would, pursue and possibly turn into a biopic one day. It could be played by my middle brother, who very much resembles him, like spot on. If you look at old photos, there is, like, you think my brother went into the past, and because he looks like him so much. But thank you so much, Dad, for all your help and your love and your support. Because of you and Mama, y'all helped me. Y'all are visionaries, and y'all saw that in me that I can do something with my craft, with filmmaking, to make things, to tell stories, that are important, that have a good message, to help benefit people. So thank you all so much for that, and happy birthday again, Baba. Anyway, now that we got that out of the way, let's move on to sharing my favorite biopics of all time. Just as a disclaimer, I know there are a gazillion and a half biopics out there. I have not watched all of them, so forgive me. But of the ones that I have watched, this is a list that I put together, of my favorite biopics that I've enjoyed, that had, I guess, the most impact on me up until recent, right? In our recent history, these films that came out depicting iconic figures in our history, with, a bit of dramatization for the sake of creative license, and the way their story is told is phenomenal. And first runner-up, this will always be special to my heart, because this man is iconic in not just American history, but also part of global history, and that is the 1992 biopic film Malcolm X, also known as Malcolm Little, also known as Red, also known as, more famously, I think, Al-Hajj Malik Al-Shabazz. Denzel Washington portraying Malcolm X in this phenomenal piece. The screenplay, co-written by director Spike Lee, and let me pull up the other gentleman as well who had written it. I'm sorry that I don't have that right on my come on. Where is it? Yes. Let's see. Nope. I thought I had it. I'm looking off of Wikipedia. Just, it is authentic where I'm getting these sources. Just give me a moment. My goodness, where did it go? I thought I had that on. Apologies in advance, but regardless, it was co-directed with, it was co-written with Spike Lee, the director of the film, and it was based off of the autobiography of Malcolm X by Alex Haley, who sat with Malcolm, and Malcolm just spoke as he remembered his events in history, and and completed the novel, of course, after his assassination. And it's so amazing. Like, it was just, I believe, a few weeks before he was assassinated that he had this interview with Alex Haley, and Alex just wrote down as much as he could and compiled the novel. A fantastic read, and the film was just brilliantly done, and it's in itself had so many troubles that I'm going to talk about. When you have something amazing like this story of his life, of course, on the production side, there were so many challenges that came about. A big one was the budget. According to Wikipedia, Spike Lee encountered difficulty in securing a sufficient budget. Lee told Warner Brothers and the Bond Company that a budget of over $30 million US was necessary. The studio disagreed and offered a lower amount. And then, following the advice from fellow director Francis Ford Coppola, Lee got the movie company pregnant, taking the movie far enough along into actual production to attempt to force the studio to increase the budget. Basically, tying the hands behind their back to say, look, we've already filmed and we used all the budget. We still need more in order to complete the film. And so this is where, politics kind of come into play. The film initially budgeted for at $28 million, climbed to nearly $33 million. Lee contributed $2 million of his own $3 million salary. That's how much he believed in this project. That's how much he wanted to tell the story. He was going to do it by any means necessary, famously said by Malcolm X in different contexts, of course. Completion Bond Company, which assumed financial control in January of 1992, refused to approve any more expenditures. In addition, the studio and Bond Company instructed Lee that the film could be no longer than 2 hours, 15 minutes in length. The resulting conflict caused the project to be shut down in post-production. So they finished filming everything, but then as it's being post-produced, they gave it the axe. But then, this is where community comes in. This is where the support comes in, right? For those who believe in your project, for those who believe in your cause and the message and the story that you're trying to tell, you go to the right people. Oh, man, it's just so amazing how this all came together. The film was saved by the financial intervention of prominent Black Americans, some of whom appeared in the film. Bill Cosby, Oprah Winfrey, Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, Janet Jackson, Prince, Tracy Chapman, and Peggy Cooper Kafritz, founder of the Duke Ellington School of the Arts. Their contributions were made as donations, as Lee noted. This is not a loan. They are not investing in the film. These are black folks with some money who came to the rescue of the movie. As a result, the film will be my version. Not the Bond Company's version, not Warner Brothers. I will do the film the way I ought it to be, and it will be over 3 hours. The actions of such prominent members of the African American community giving their money helped finish the project as Lee envisioned it. And that, subhanAllah, is just amazing, because I believe this is like not the first film, but one of the first few mainstream films that not only depicted in a dramatization of Malcolm X's life, accurate, not 100% accurately, of course, no biopic is, but on top of that, showing his transformation as a character and telling the truth that how his life changed because of the religion that he embraced, starting with the Nation of Islam, but then going into mainstream Islam and telling the ideology of mainstream Islam and preaching that. And it was just, it's so amazing. It's so awesome. Like, that's like, it's one of the best, times to see that happen in a movie, in mainstream media. And it was fantastic. It was just amazing. And I loved it. So that's, always going to be a place in my heart. Malcolm X, Denzel Washington portraying Malcolm. He, funny enough, or rather coincidentally, even though there aren't really any coincidences, Denzel Washington played the part of Malcolm X in a play in 1981 prior to the film, right? And it's actually called, when it's here mentioned in Wikipedia, that when Denzel Washington took the role of Malcolm X in the play When the Chickens Come Home to Roost, which dealt with the relationship between Malcolm X and Elijah Muhammad, he admitted to know little about Malcolm X and had not yet read the autobiography of Malcolm X. So it was kind of like almost an audition for his role as Malcolm X in the film when he took on that role, even though it was 10 years prior, but still it helped him, I guess it was the doorway to take the steps to becoming Malcolm X in the film. And subhanAllah, how things just line up for the best results. And what a fantastic movie. What a fantastic film. I'm going to have some popcorn while I'm talking about my favorite films, my favorite biopics, rather. And while we're at it, let me know in the comments, in the live chat, what y'all's favorite biopics are. I know there are literally tons and tons of films out there depicting people's lives because they have such interesting stories, and the way that they're told and the way that it's portrayed, it just makes it so much better. And it's maybe a little bit dramatized, but still incredible stories that are being told by incredible individuals who do incredible things. Excuse me, got a little kernel stuck in the back throat. Moving on to one of my other favorite biopics, and it kind of corresponds with Malcolm X. I think y'all know who I might be talking about. It's none other than The Rumble in the Jungle. He floats like a butterfly, stings like a bee. I'm talking about 2001's biopic film Ali, the depiction of the greatest boxer of all time, Muhammad Ali, rahmatullah alayh, may God have mercy on him, portrayed by Will Smith. And a fun fact, I know that when Will Smith was preparing for the film, in terms of his physique, he was literally the exact weight and I think height of Muhammad Ali when he was playing the role. And I think it was requested by Muhammad Ali himself when he was alive, of course, that Will Smith portray him. Nobody else could do it. And so let's just talk a little bit about that film. Directed by Michael Mann, and I love Michael Mann's approach to the film. It was, if you watch it, it's almost like a documentary. Almost. Not 100%. It is stylized, but still, like it does give off the documentary feel as you watch the film. You know, kind of like, I don't want to say mockumentary like The Office, but kind of like that. You know, you have the punch-in zooms. It's more like these events are happening and the cameras are just there, right, to capture it. That's how it was, I think. And man, it was just amazing. So this film covered from about 1964 to 1974, right? 10 years of his life. And, you know, these critical points in his life that transformed him, right? When he was the heavyweight title from Sonny Liston to his conversion to Islam, criticizing the Vietnam War, and his banishment from boxing, and his return fight with Joe Frazier in 1971, and finally reclaiming his title from George Foreman in the Rumble in the Jungle fight of 1974. And then, of course, it crosses over the events, you know, with the assassination of Malcolm X and Martin Luther King Jr. I wish, and I know this is a bit of a stretch, but I wish they brought back Denzel as they did the scenes with Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali together. I wish they brought Denzel to reprise his role as Malcolm X, even though they did get another actor, and he did a great job, right? But it would have been like a nice tip of the hat, you know, like these two actors in their own worlds, right, portraying these famous people, and then they just come together, even though they're different productions and all that stuff. But still, I think it would have been really, really dope if they had Denzel come back, reprising his role as Malcolm X for those scenes, and then kind of show the crossover of the assassination scene as well. But man, if you want to talk about a really gut-wrenching display of an assassination, it was in Malcolm X originally, but then also when they did it again in Ali, you just when you hear the shotgun go off, you just get the chills, and you want to cry because of how significant. Like you know, we lost somebody who was just beyond, you know, anybody. He wasn't just anybody, you know. He made himself into somebody, you know, and he had the support from, you know, the community, and he thought way beyond the minuscule problems that we had. He thought on a global level, you know. Then with Malcolm X, like, he had interviews that are in the archives that he bluntly says that if people had Islam in their life, you would have literally world peace. Nothing else can give you world peace except Islam, because Islam is the answer to all the societal problems: racism, colonialism, poverty, injustice, like any type of injustice. Islam is there to rectify it, and, you know, to make boys into men and girls into women, and, you know, having good character and morals and values. Islam was the answer, and Malcolm preached that, and he was a da'i. He was somebody who went out and talked about that. He was even on game shows in the late 60s, or rather the mid 60s, I should say. In those last few years before he was assassinated, after he came back from Hajj, the amount of work that he did, the messages that he was preaching, just phenomenal and so inspirational. You know, may Allah have, you know, bless him. He's just such an inspiring figure that we, as an American black Muslim, unbelievable, just incredible human being, there for the community like we all aspire to be. and Muhammad Ali himself, right? And Ali did a great job. The movie did a great job portraying his political side in terms of what was happening in his life, but also showing the winning his honor back, not just through his boxing but in his life, and uplifting himself and being that inspirational, influential person, because he knew that. And even after that, there are so many clips that are floating around the internet about how he was talking about Islam and how he talks about the oneness of God and so much more. I wish I had the chance to meet him. I did have his, or at least supposedly, it was a autographed set of boxing gloves. I did have that, but I had to end up giving those away. But still, what a legend. What a legend. These two individuals. And they were both portrayed in these films, and they were given, I think, the justice that they deserve, in telling their story. So kudos to Spike Lee, obviously, for portraying or producing and filming Malcolm X, the film, and Michael Mann for telling the story of Ali. Such great films. God, I'm just getting pumped talking about it. I don't know about you guys, but man, so good. So good. The next film I want to talk about real quick. Actually, not quick, but the next one on the list. This one caught me by surprise. Another historical figure in our time. In the late 1960s, JFK's wife, Jackie. The 2016 film, Jackie, was portrayed by Natalie Portman, and it's her perspective on everything that happened prior and after the assassination of JFK. And first of all, the guy that they got to play JFK, or at least portray him, holy cow, was he like a doppelganger? Like, he was straight up, like, you thought it was him. All the archive, pictures and whatnot, you thought it was him. Because this guy, I think he's Danish. Let's see at the cast real quick. Let's see. Yeah, his name is Kaspar Philipsen. He's a Danish actor who is best known for English-speaking world for his portrayal of JFK. I mean, maybe he had a little bit of enhancement in terms of makeup and maybe some prosthetics, but you slap a black and white video on him and he's wearing the suit and he has the haircut and you think it's JFK, man. They got this guy, and like, again, he has just a few appearances, and if you look at him a little longer, then you'll see that it's not him. But in those few moments that you see him in there, God, you're just like, that is incredible. That is amazing. But the movie Jackie, right, it follows, according to Wikipedia, it says, a week following the assassination of United States President John F. Kennedy, a journalist follows Jacqueline Kennedy for an interview at her home regarding her husband's legacy. And so that's where it's like kind of flashbacks, flash forwards, something, along those lines. And she reflects, her 1962 televised tour of the White House, and then talking about JFK's assassination and its aftermath for her and her family. She talks about events shortly prior to the assassination, and also talking about the newly sworn-in president, Lyndon B. Johnson. And it's the whole thing is just from her perspective and understanding a woman's perspective, from the incident, who was right there when it happened. What I loved about this film was the authenticity of it, that you believed that you were there, right? That you were in the shoes as these events were unfolding. And then the politics, like, I understood that LBJ, Lyndon B. Johnson, did not like Kennedy, like, for a long time, but then he still gave his condolences, of course, right there on Air Force One when when he saw her, and as he was being sworn in, and it was just such a moving film. In filming, principal photography of the film began in December of 2015 in a Paris area studio where most of the interior scenes were shot. Production designer Rabais and set decorator Mellery oversaw a replication of the White House rooms needed for filming in the studio just outside of Paris. And then in February of 2016, production moved to downtown Washington, D.C., where JFK's funeral procession scenes were filmed. So it was quite incredible how they made replications of the Oval Office and other parts of the White House, and they filmed those sets, and they were huge. Like, you thought they were in the building itself, but they were building that set, and they were out in Paris, of all places, to do that. A great film. In pre-production, in April of 2010, it was announced that Rachel Weisz would star in the role, and with Darren Aronofsky set to direct and produce the film. However, both of them dropped out after they ended their romantic relationship. Nerds. The same year, Steven Spielberg showed interest in helming the film. Then in September of 2012, without a director, Fox Searchlight Pictures started courting Natalie Portman to star in the film as Jackie, hoping that her participation would bring back Aronofsky, although Portman's involvement was contingent on which director signed on. So there, within producing a film to tell a great story, there's also more politics, and you find that out more, and that's what always fascinated me about movies, is that, there's always a story on how the movie was made, because there's so much that happens. Definitely one of my favorites, as I did watch it a couple of years ago, and it was just great. The way it was told, you feel like you were there, and you feel like you were living that time. Great film. Absolutely loved it. Let me take a little water break here. Also, a quick note, if y'all are enjoying this and if y'all are new to the channel, consider subscribing. I'd greatly appreciate it, and give this live stream a thumbs up and share it with others who love biopics as well. I'd like to see and hear from them what their favorite biopic are. So, moving on, we have this movie. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm not going to do the whole clip. But this next film, man, just in terms of the uncanniness, if that's the word, but that alone should have, made the film great, let alone the acting and everything else. But just the look was unbelievable. I am obviously talking about 2012 Steven Spielberg's Lincoln, where Daniel Day-Lewis portrayed our president, Abraham Lincoln. Wow, what a fantastic movie. It is loosely based off the 2005 biography, Team of Rivals, The Political Genius of Abraham Lincoln, covering the final 4 months of Lincoln's life, focusing on his efforts in January of 1865 to abolish slavery and involuntary servitude by having the 13th Amendment to the United States passed in the United States House of Representatives. So a critical time in our history. And of course, at the helm is Steven Spielberg. It received so much praise for the acting, especially Day-Lewis's performance, as well as Spielberg's direction and production values. In December of 2012, the film was nominated for 7 Golden Globe Awards, including Best Motion Picture Drama, Best Director for Steven Spielberg, and winning Best Actor for Day-Lewis. At the 85th Academy Awards, the film was nominated for 12 Academy Awards, including Best Picture and Best Director. It won for Best Production Design and Best Actor for Day-Lewis. The film was also a commercial success, grossing over $275 million at the box office when the budget was $65 million. Holy cow. It is so good of a movie. I absolutely loved it. It was a while ago when I did watch it, but still, nonetheless, a great, great film. I absolutely loved this movie. It was just, again, just the visuals itself. If you see it, you would think that's Abraham Lincoln. He obviously had to learn his mannerisms and whatnot, but you get an inside glimpse of what his life was like, what he was like with his wife, with his son, and as a leader of the nation. It was even reported Lincoln had a speech, but the news reporters who were there to document and capture his speech were so mesmerized by it that they forgot what he was forgot to write it down, and because they were just so captivated and they were in awe. He was just such a great president. And man, I wish we could watch some clips, but I didn't want to get flagged for YouTube. But man, great direction. Loved the film. It was so good and so inspiring. I remember being a kid, I believe it was 5th grade. I did a report on, inspirational figures in our history, and I believe I chose Abraham Lincoln. And I remember there was as part of the PR for the film, they were using Obama because Obama was also President Obama was named the Lincoln of our time, and because he's also from Chicago, he was a lawyer, and then he was in this Senate, and then he became president. So a lot of parallels there, but of course they were poking fun, using makeup and whatever. He became the actor. So great. I would love to watch that again. But it's so good, so captivating. Just telling these stories from these incredible people in general, who have made history, who didn't know that they were a part of history in the making, but they were just there to do their mission and do their job, and it was captured. And that's, I guess that's kind of a little bit of a tangent here, but that's the importance of documentation as things are happening, right? That's the importance of photography. That's the importance of film and video, documenting history as it's happening. And because without that, if nobody was there, there are rare photos, but real photos of Lincoln. He was a tall guy, a really tall man. And in that, the way he was dressed, the way he looked, the way he, carried himself, and the way, when people are writing down his character, the way he dealt with people. If that was not recorded, we wouldn't know who these people were. We don't know who these people are. Just like these other inspirational figures in our history, like Malcolm X, like Muhammad Ali, and so on and so forth. Like all these people that these biopics are, told of their history. If the camera was not invented and used the way it's been used, we would not know anything about these people. So that is the value of photography. That is the value of film and video, capturing those moments, recording and documenting and archiving history in the making. That's the importance of it. Moving on, this next movie. Oh boy, man. Before I get to that, just a quick announcement that there are going to be some honorable mentions, so stick around to the end of this live stream of Real Time, where we are live talking about film and television and everything in between. So stick around for that, as I will mention them. This next movie. If y'all don't know by now, I am... actually, I take that back. I'm not... You know, let me just say it like this. Actually, I don't know how I'm going to say this. I am an Apple user, not an Apple fanatic, and I don't hate Android. I just like using Apple. So, you know, I have an iPhone, I use Mac computers, I have an Apple Watch. It's great. And so I think y'all know where I'm going with this. So there was a first attempt at depicting key moments in the life of Steve Jobs. Universal Pictures produced it, and it was Ashton Kutcher who portrayed Steve. And I think he did a great job. It was a nice, lighthearted, uplifting, inspirational, entrepreneurial type of film, you know, showing key moments in his life that helped inspire him to get to where he, you know, became, and, you know, what drew his inspirations from his events in his life. And it was a great movie. I liked it. But then Universal comes back to say, you know what? Let's give it another crack at it. And this time we're not going to use Ashton Kutcher, of course. We're going to use somebody like Michael Fassbender in 2015's Steve Jobs. And this time we're going to be coming at a more realistic approach of who Steve Jobs was. And my God, that movie was phenomenal. You're talking about very critical points in his life when Apple was on the rise. So basically, according to Wikipedia, Steve Jobs is a 2015 biographical drama film directed by Danny Boyle and written by Aaron Sorkin. And y'all know who Aaron Sorkin is, right? Yeah. Great writer. He wrote the majority of The West Wing, a great TV series, and as well as one of the honorable mentions that I will mention later. I can't say it right now. Stay tuned for that. Watch to the end. And many more. Great writer. A British-American co-production, it was adapted from the 2011 biography by Walter Isaacson and interviews conducted by Sorkin, and covers 14 years, 1984 to 1998, in the life of Apple Incorporated co-founder Steve Jobs. Jobs is portrayed by Michael Fassbender with Kate Winslet, Seth Rogen, Catherine Waterston, Michael Stuhlbarg, and Jeff Daniels in supporting roles. So, yes, a little bit of history. Development began in 2011, right after the rights to Isaacson's book were acquired. Filming began in January of 2015. So that is actually kind of cutting it close. I mean, it is pretty straightforward to an extent, but usually films take about a year for post-production. But if they filmed in January of 2015 and it was released in 2015... that's a bit of, you know, typically that's kind of a really short period of time. But as it says here, A variety of actors were considered and cast before Fassbender eventually took the role. Editing was extensive on the project, with editor Elliot Graham starting while the film was still shooting. Daniel Pemberton served as composer, with a focus on dividing the score into 3 distinguishable sections. It premiered at the 2015 Telluride Film Festival on September 5th, 2015, and began a limited release in New York City and Los Angeles on October 9th, 2015. It opened nationwide in the U.S. on October 23rd of 2015 to critical acclaim. People close to Jobs, such as Steve Wozniak and John Scully, praised the performances, but the film also received criticism for historical inaccuracy. And that's what you're always going to run into with biopics, right? Of course, it's not going to be 100% accurate, but for the sake of creative license and dramatization, you have to twist things a little bit to make it much more flair. Winslet won a Golden Globe and BAFTA Award for Best Supporting Actress, and Sorkin won the Golden Globe Award for Best Screenplay at the 73rd Golden Globes, while Fassbender and Winslet received nominations for Best Actor and Best Supporting Actress, respectively, at the 88th Academy Awards. And do they deserve it? You believe that Michael Fassbender, was Steve Jobs. He nailed not just the voice, but the mannerisms, his look. I mean, every detail. The famous turtleneck, black shirt, pulled up sleeve, denim jeans, sneakers, rounded glasses. Like, you thought it was Steve Jobs. You thought. I mean, Ashton Kutcher did look like Steve Jobs when he was younger, with the beard and all. When he got older, though, it kind of shifted. But Fassbender, I think, portrayed him in a much more deeper light, if that makes sense, and did a great job. Definitely one of my favorites. And, of course, being an Apple user, I was inspired by the film because, yes, everybody said that Steve Jobs was a jerk, but he still had that ambition and he still had that drive, and he knew he was on the brink of something amazing. And, he was building his team of people around him that believed in the same mission. And, the mission of Apple was, Apple products are supposed to be an extension of the human experience and, giving the tools to expand. But, of course, there's always politics. And, when the CEO and co-founder of a company gets kicked out by its own board, something is up. But then he came back, baby, and he knocked it out of the park. Great film. Absolutely loved it. It was just amazing. Let's see. Next. This is also another favorite of mine, and I like this because I just love the portrayal in it. I wasn't a fan of the original character in history, or his music, for that matter. But in 2005's Walking the Line, biopic of Johnny Cash, Joaquin Phoenix, whenever he takes on a role, he just takes it, man. He takes it because, I mean, if he and others were nominated for Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Costume Design, nominated for 5 Oscars, I mean, they deserve it. He was amazing in this film. So, again, based off Wikipedia, Walk the Line is a 2005 American biographical musical romantic drama film directed by James Mangold. The screenplay, written by Mangold and Gil Dennis, is based on 2 autobiographies authored by singer-songwriter Johnny Cash. 1975's Man in Black, his own story in his own words, and 1997's Cash, the autobiography. So you had, some authentic sources in there. The film follows Cash's early life, his romance with June Carter, and his ascent into the country music scene. It stars Joaquin Phoenix as Cash, Reese Witherspoon as Carter, Jennifer Goodwin as Cash's first wife, Vivian Liberto, and Robert Patrick as Cash's father. I mean, if you think about it, Joaquin Phoenix did not, in my opinion, he did not look like Johnny Cash. However, again, the mannerisms, the situations that he was in, the way it was portrayed, you start believing it. His accent, like he nailed everything down to the T, and he just did a phenomenal job. I just love that film. It was so good, so good. Sorry, I need to take a little break here. I need to eat my popcorn. You know a movie is good when you as the audience are watching and then you start freaking out because of what's happening on the screen. When he's losing his ish, I think it was in the hotel room or whatever, and he just starts breaking things with the guitar. You're just like, oh my God, please, no, don't. And it was just, that is the level of acting that is Oscar worthy, because it just gets you so invested. You're so invested. You just want to go in there and just like stop it, right? Like you care so much, and you just like, you feel it. That's what a film is supposed to do. It's supposed to invoke emotion in you. If you're just so numb, you need to wake up, pay attention, because that's what a film is supposed to do. Good films make your life better, right? As some theaters say on their boards. But yeah, great movie, Walk the Line, 2005. Maybe they could have done a little bit better in terms of his appearance to make him seem more like Johnny Cash in real life, but nonetheless, still a great movie. Great delivery by Joaquin Phoenix and Reese Witherspoon. Definitely would recommend it. One of my favorites. This next one, oh boy. Speaking of music, actually, incidentally, I didn't realize it, but the last three on my list are musical related. Sorry for the glitches, y'all. I don't know why it's happening. Actually, I do know why. We've talked about this before. I need to get that HDMI cable replaced. This next one, I have been a fan of this music. Particular hits, not necessarily whole albums and the like, but then when they made a film about this individual's life, I was interested to check it out. In 2018, Bohemian Rhapsody, the biopic of Freddie Mercury, also known as the lead singer of Queen. What a movie. I mean, I just love music in general, but also, man, this movie just took it to the next level. Obviously, it was dramatized, and things are not 100% accurate, but they did a great job sequencing, certain parts of his life, where he came from, and then the troubles that he was running into, and the issues that he was dealing with, and then making himself, seeing the rise of the group coming together and becoming what they are today, which is, legendary in the music industry. Famous songs that we still hear today that get the audience going. We Will Rock You. obviously Bohemian Rhapsody, We Are the Champions, Another One Bites the Dust. Those are the four that I love. Absolutely. Like, and then the way they incorporated it into the movie just gets you so hype, and it gets you on your feet, and you just, clap along and you sing along, and you're just like, wow, this is amazing. But what struck to me, I guess, the most was, I believe his song, or the group song, Bohemian Rhapsody, is the only song in mainstream music where they use the word Bismillah in a lyric, in a song, ever. And it's during the bridge of Bohemian Rhapsody. And it's just like, why would he include that? And it's because of his history, his background. I believe he is Indian by ethnicity, and I think some claim that he was Muslim, maybe not. I think he might have been another religion. I don't know 100% on that, but I remember they did talk about that in the film. Why did they use the word Bismillah? And what's his name? Mike Myers was one of the, let's see, in the cast, Mike Myers, where are you? Mike Myers was Ray Foster, an EMI executive. One of the, whatchamacallit, the EMI executive. I don't know what that means. He, I think, is one of the distributors or producers of, record labels. But I don't know if that conversation with the band was accurate, but he was saying, what is Bismillah? What is that? Bismillah BS, right? And so he was like, this is basically, taking over the creative control, in that it's his music, or at least the group's music, and they need to be produced as it is. There shouldn't be any changes. And so that's like sticking to your beliefs, sticking to what you believe in, sticking to your values and your vision, and not to be bullied to bend over backwards to follow somebody else's vision. When you have an idea and you believe that it's good and you believe it wholeheartedly, you should stick through it and keep going. And so I think they refused that deal from them, and they end up producing with somebody else. And it's over that, right? Saying Bismillah, I think, among other things, because like they're not used to the genre or something like that. But still, like, it was, and then Freddie says, it means in the name of God, right? In Arabic, Bismillah means in the name of God. A great movie, great biopic. It was edited like an epic, where they show a little bit of the ending and then go back to the beginning and then play it through and then cut through the part that was shown and then continue on past that point. Very amazing. Something I did notice in the behind the scenes a lot, actually, of this film, because I like to watch behind the scenes of how these movies are made. But they did not have the director in any of the interviews. I don't know why. Bryan Singer, from what I understand, he directed the first X-Men movie. Fantastic movie. Loved it. Absolutely amazing. But I don't know why he was not in this behind the scenes. So in terms of its success, obviously being such a great movie, although I don't agree with the homosexuality part, but that's to each their own. In terms of its success, Bohemian Rhapsody received numerous accolades, including a leading 4 wins at the 91st Academy Awards for Best Actor, Best Film Editing, Best Sound Editing, and Best Sound Mixing. It was also nominated for Best Picture. The film also won Best Motion Picture Drama at the 76th Golden Globe Awards, and was nominated for the Producers Guild of America Award for Best Theatrical Motion Picture and BAFTA Award for Best British Film, while Rami Malek, that is, won the Golden Globe, Screen Actors Guild, and BAFTA for Best Actor. Rami Malek portraying Freddie Mercury, and he did such a great job, man. I mean, he didn't exactly look like him because of, a little bit of difference in the shape of his eyes. I think that was the main difference. But he nailed the mustache, the distortion, and the teeth, which actually historically was proven that because of that deformity in Freddie Mercury's mouth shape, it gave him the range to sing in those higher octaves. So, don't judge a book by its cover, because the inside is amazing. But he did such a great job portraying Freddie Mercury. And then I like that it tapped into Freddie's personal life as well, with his family. Winning his father's approval, and this is, kind of somewhat relatable, not just for me, but, people of the South Asian culture or the Middle Eastern culture, like, seeking parental approval is like kind of huge kind of thing, right? And so even then, his father did not approve of what he was doing and the way he was acting and behaving, going into, this type of career, but they were being successful. And then at the very end, he ended up getting his father's approval. And all was well after that. And then they had the climax of the film, which was the World AIDS Day concert. And they came and performed. And man, the seamlessness of CGI and live action, amazing. And the cinematography was just beautiful. I love that movie so much. Great movie. Would definitely recommend it. Let's see. Are y'all having fun? Are y'all having a good time? I know I am, alhamdulillah. All right, ladies and gents, the last biopic, my favorite biopic. This one, again, musically inclined, is 2014's Get On Up, the biopic of James Brown. Portraying him was none other than, I don't know if we should say rest in power, or I don't know what to say, but Chadwick Boseman passing away earlier this year due to his silent conflict and I don't know the words for this, but basically his silent fight against cancer that, he didn't tell many people about. Incredible human being. Wakanda forever, baby. Wakanda forever. What an actor. What a gem. He did portray Jackie Robinson, the baseball player. That was a great film. 42 with Harrison Ford. That's kind of an honorable mention, I would say. But Get On Up, about James Brown. What a movie. My only qualm with this movie, and again, no disrespect to Chadwick Boseman, I just feel like they could have changed his look a little bit in terms of his facial expression to look more like the actual James Brown. Other than that, though, perfect. Spot on. Amazing. And According to Wikipedia, Get On Up is a 2014 American biographical musical drama film about the life of singer James Brown and is directed by Tate Taylor and written by Jez and John Henry Butterworth. Yeah. Basically, the film uses a non-linear narrative following James Brown's stream of consciousness as he recalls events from his life as an asynchronous manner, occasionally breaking the fourth wall to address the audience. So what was great about this movie, obviously being a biopic, depicting important parts of his life, things that he has witnessed, what he's been through, and how that influenced certain key characteristics as his character, defining him as a character. It was just great. And then also understanding the music business to a degree where he was not gonna let somebody else take over in terms of his fame, if that makes sense. I don't know if I'm saying this properly, but basically this is where he does break the fourth wall and like explain to the audience what was happening as his promoter was trying to convince him to go with a certain agency, but he's saying no because instead he would rather fund to build his own so that he can be his own boss. So again, it's the entrepreneur mindset to take control, to have full creative control over the things that you're creating so that nobody else can dictate your creativity, and that I think says a lot about a character that, that they stand for what they believe in and they will do anything to make that happen. So a great movie. I absolutely loved it. Definitely would recommend it. Such great hits, like This Is a Man's World and Get On Up, of course. And then you see his interactions with other rising individuals like Little Richard and others. But it's so nice, to see that crossover. Would recommend watching that. That's all I have for you guys for my favorite biopics of all time. Now to the honorable mentions. These films I do love as well, but we'll just talk about them briefly. Braveheart. Yes, there weren't any cameras or anything like that during the time, but Mel Gibson's 1995 film where he eventually starred in it because he couldn't find somebody to take on the lead, so he ended up taking the main lead, and then they got Best Picture for 1995, winning the Oscar. Braveheart, such a great movie. Catch Me If You Can, Spielberg directing with Tom Hanks and Leonardo DiCaprio. A Beautiful Mind, the story of John Nash, the mathematician, directed by Ron Howard. A great film. I believe it won a few Academies as well. This next one, The Social Network, David Fincher's film written by Aaron Sorkin as well. Great movie. Dramatized, but great movie about the beginnings of Facebook. And I love the tagline, you can't make 500 friends without making, or 500 million friends without making a few enemies. What a line. Like, it's so good. And it tells you, it's kind of like the Apple story almost, but for our modern day social media and the beginning of this large corporation. 8 Mile, which is the dramatized story of Eminem, played by Eminem. So I don't know if you want to call it a biopic per se, because there were a lot of differences from what actually happened in real life compared to what was in this movie, but the general idea is still there, and showing a character rising up to fame in the light of the rap scene with Eminem. So yeah, these are my favorite biopics of all time. Let me know in the live chat or the comments down below what y'all's favorite biopics are. I had a great time doing this. I hope y'all did too. And if y'all did, give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Make sure you hit that post notification down below. Before we end, my boy Ibrahim says, I missed it. What was your number one favorite biopic? I did not say I had these were not in any particular order. These were just my favorites of all time. So they're kind of just lumped up together, really. So I don't have a particular one. But yeah, anyway, that's all I have for you guys for this live episode of Real Time, where we are live talking about film and television and everything in between. This is Mustafa Talib with Cinema King Productions. I hope y'all enjoyed this. If y'all did, I'm going to say this again. Give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Make sure you hit that post notification down below. And I will see y'all tomorrow in our final live stream of Season 3 and of 2021. 2020. And take care. See y'all then. Peace.